Hey everybody, welcome back to BuQeye Barbecue. Today we're going to do a pork brisket, which I've actually done before. I think there's a video on the channel of a pork brisket, but today we're going to do it on the PK360 grill that we're going to set up as a smoker, which is not something I have done yet, at least for the camera, and I want to show you how this can be used as a smoker. So we're going to go ahead and get started. So we're going to get our charcoal going. And real briefly, as far as setup goes, notice I've got a drip pan in the left hand side here. I've got my charcoal and I'm using Fogo, and this is another thing that we're going to do in this video. Is I've never used Fogo. I've heard great things about it, but I'm using Fogo Lump Charcoal, and I've got it in a chimney starter. I've got a drip pan on the left, and I've got the grate, which is the standard grate that the PK360 comes with the right side removed, which is where our coals are going to go. So we're just going to get these started. The other thing I'm testing out today, I got it for Christmas, is this lighter. So it's rechargeable, just plugs in, and if I press the button, I hope you can see that on camera, we have an electrical current that supposedly, well, I know it lights fires. I've lit a couple of pieces of paper with it, but we're going to try to light a couple of tumbleweeds with it. So that's what I have to get the charcoal going. Seems to be struggling with the tumbleweeds. Well, we have to just get our torch. No, I think we're going to get it. Yeah, I just had it in a bad spot. So there we go. And we'll get our chimney starter with our lump charcoal sitting there, and I'm not going to let this completely ash over. I'm probably going to let it go about 10 to 15 minutes. That way I can have some unlit charcoals and some lit charcoals, and we're going to spread them out there on the right hand side. So in the meantime, we're going to get our pork brisket ready, and so we'll bring you inside. Okay, so if you haven't heard of a pork brisket, you're not alone, I don't think. But it is essentially exactly what the name says it is. It is the equivalent cut of meat from a pig as the brisket is to a cow. So they're much smaller. We're going to cook it exactly like a beef brisket, and the only place I've ever seen these is Porter Road, which is an online butcher that I enjoy. I'll actually put a link to Porter Road, if not a pork brisket, there in the comments, so, or in the additional information section. So we're going to get this seasoned, and we're just going to liberally season it up. And I am using, by the way, today a Meat Church rub called Holy Gospel, which I like. I think it goes good on pork. I've used it on ribs before, and I think I've used it on a pork butt. Little flap here, I want to make sure I get seasoned. Here we go. And I'm just going to turn it over. And by the way, I've just started the coals of the PK360. So we're not doing this too far in advance. I'm not even going to put it back in the fridge. We're probably 10 to 15 minutes away from putting this on the cooker. There we go. And I want to make sure I get the sides. I'm just going to use the stuff that's already on the board. There we go. So we are going to meet you out at the cooker and we'll get this going. By the way, I'm hoping this only takes about 4 hours, being small, but we are going to get it up to, you know, over 200 degrees internal temperature probably, so it'll take what it takes. But it is reasonably small and not very thick either, so we'll bring you back. Okay, so we're going to get our charcoal in place. This has been going about 10 minutes. And we're going to try to spread out the stuff at the bottom as best we can. Hopefully our ash pan there, or our drip pan, will keep the charcoal from going over to the other side. And there we go. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to drop a chunk of apple wood, just kind of right in the middle. Add a little flavor to our pork. And so we're ready to put our meat on. Well, I take that back. We're going to let our cooker come up to temperature a little bit, and then we're going to put our meat on. So I'm going to get the lid closed, and we'll come back and talk about exactly how we're going to set the vents on the PK360, so we'll be back. Okay, so as the PK360 is coming up to temperature, I want to talk a little bit about the vent setup. So directly under the charcoal on the right side, I've got the vent at the bottom wide open. Opposite the charcoal on the left side where the meat is going to be sitting, I have that completely closed. And then the top vents, I have the vent over the charcoal closed and the vent over the meat open. So the airflow will come in under the charcoal and it will go over the meat and out the vent above the meat. And that's the way you set up a PK grill, really any of the PK grills that I've seen for smoking. I have seen people smoke everything from turkeys to ribs to pork butts on this, and today we're going to do our pork brisket. So that's a little about the setup of the PK360 for smoking. Smoke is already rolling nicely and the temperature is coming up, and we're going to try to hold it in the neighborhood of 250 to 275 today, go a little hotter and faster and less lower and slower. So we're going to bring our pork brisket out and get her put on, so we'll see you in a minute. Okay, so we're going to put our meat on. Our PK360 is running right at 275, feeling really good about that temperature. So we're just going to get our pork brisket on. I should have done this earlier, but I'm going to give these a little brush. There we go. Our chunk of apple wood is on fire, which is good. Cleaner smoke that way. And we're just going to drop the pork brisket on. Now, because one side of this is much closer to the fire, and I'm going to close this lid pretty quickly, but I am going to rotate this maybe every hour or so, and I am using a meter probe in order to monitor the temperature. To me, wireless works best in the PK360 because there's no great way to feed a wired probe into the cooker except through the vent or pinch between the lid and the base. So I'm going to get this closed and we are going to let this get going. We'll monitor the temperature and bring you back if anything warrants. Otherwise, it'll probably be about 2 hours. So thanks for joining again here at BuQeye Barbecue. See you soon. Okay, we've been on about an hour. We're up to the mid-90s internal temperature of the meat. We're going to turn this around just to try to ensure some even cooking, since we do have that one hot side of the cooker just by the nature of the way the PK is set up. So let's get her turned around. Cooker's been running a little warmer than I anticipated, which is just really the way I did the charcoal. I'm not all that worried about it. It's been hovering around 300, and I have backed down the vent a little bit in order to slow it down just a little. But we're going well, and we're gonna bring you back here probably in the next hour, and we'll turn this again. Okay, we've gone about another hour. I'm gonna turn this pork brisket the other way again just for even cooking. The temperature is just under 150, so it's actually going reasonably fast. Getting some nice bark on that. That's really pretty. We're still putting off a good amount of heat. The cooker's running right around 290 to 300. So there we go. I am going to get a spray bottle ready with some apple cider vinegar and water, about a 50-50 mixture in case I need to spray. Bark is not quite set yet, but it's getting close. So we'll get that ready in case we need it the next time, and we'll bring you back. Okay, just a little update on our pork brisket. We're running about 270 degrees on the PK360, and I got busy with other stuff and was on a call, and I had to wrap the pork brisket because it was time. It was stalled out around 152. The bark was nice, so I had sprayed it and then just wrapped it in foil. So that's where we are now. I've still got the meter probe in it monitoring the temperature, but it's running good. So at this point, next time you see a video clip, we will be pulling this off because there's not going to be anything left to see till this comes up to temperature. So we'll bring you back. Okay, we are at about 3 hours and 45 minutes in, and our wrapped pork brisket is up to temperature. It's at about 200. I don't want to shred this necessarily. I sort of want to slice it, so I'm going to take it off. I am going to probe test it just to make sure that it's kind of at the tenderness that I want. But again, I'm not looking for fall apart like pork butt here. So I'm pretty sure it's done, so we'll see you inside and we'll cut some slices. Okay, so we are ready to cut into this pork brisket. Grab a glove here. So you can really see, I think, the kind of traditional brisket shape, especially after these are cooked. So this one, the bark looks great. I love the color. And I have only done one other quote-unquote lower and slower cook on the PK grill. And this really turned out nicely. So hoping I'm getting that in the view of the camera, but it's beautiful. So we're gonna cut into it. It's been resting about 20 minutes, so not nearly as long as you might do a regular brisket, but it's quite a bit smaller. This is maybe 2 pounds. The bark is great. Even after it was wrapped in foil, I'm still pleased with it. A little soft, but when you wrap stuff in foil, that's sort of the way it works. So I'm just gonna do a few slices here. Great smoke ring, even on the grill, still really warm, but it looks beautiful. Pulled it off right at 200. I actually probed it, and it was probing really tender, but it was actually only at 198 according to my Thermopin. So it was right in that 200 range, but I wanted to be able to slice it. I didn't want it falling apart, so this is exactly the way I wanted it. So we will stop this video right here, and I'll set the camera up and we'll go ahead and try this on camera tonight. Okay, so here we go. It's really good. This is a fun cut of meat to do. You don't find them everywhere, so take a look on Porter Road. The flavor's great. Of course, use your favorite barbecue rub. I use that Meat Church, but you can use any barbecue rub you like, or even just salt and pepper. You could make a sandwich out of this too. It would be good. And I actually think this would be good cold. Like, pull it out of the fridge and cut a slice or two off. Really good. Give it a try. Thanks as usual for tuning into BuQeye Barbecue. If you don't mind liking this video, subscribing to the channel, it'd be a big help. Thanks a lot. See you next time.